Life on the water, a dream for so many. It began with what was little more than a tattered raft. But now, after a year of relentless effort, this man has carved out a life of abundance. Food is no longer a worry. In fact, he's even raising poultry. It's like a permanent wilderness retreat. And the story really begins with Long's weariness of endless overtime. All he wanted was to take his dog out and build a shelter. Compared to the cookie-cutter suburban existence, drifting on a river surrounded by mountains felt like the ultimate upgrade. He started by hacking apart bamboo stalks, sending them floating, one by one, to assemble a makeshift raft. Then, using solid timber, he interconnected them to create a massive floating platform. Next came the task of crafting comfortable mats for lounging. The living quarters took shape with sturdy logs, carefully mortised and fitted together with precision. It was a complex undertaking, but a worthwhile investment for the long haul. As the structure progressed, Long seemed to draw energy from the project. He placed the timbers diagonally, forming a classic A-frame cabin. He knew it would be beautiful once the roof was complete. He even devised a lever system to help lift the heavy roofing materials into place. Time seemed to melt away as he labored. Eventually, the roof was done. Looking at the open spaces, he recognized the potential for further improvement. His next idea was to lay down a proper wooden floor, creating a smooth and even surface. He took his time to ensure it would last, avoiding shortcuts and focusing on meticulous work. During breaks, he'd grill river oysters for a satisfying snack. That's how you do it, balancing hard work with moments of relaxation in the wild. The basic frame of the floating home was now complete. It might have been a bit rudimentary, but it was habitable. Before nightfall, he planned to erect walls for protection against the elements, and maybe even treat himself to a proper wooden door. The temporary shelter was taking shape, but he wasn't about to get complacent. Every day he pushed forward, striving for perfection. Circular windows added a touch of whimsy, and he added railings, an absolute necessity for life on the water. A few potted plants brought life to the houseboat. Another day, he decided to install railings around the entire perimeter, a blend of safety and aesthetics. Luckily, the surrounding wilderness offered abundant resources. He hollowed out a decaying palm tree, providing more material for his floating haven. The palm shoots he replanted, an investment in long-term sustainability. The houseboat was becoming increasingly livable, but to truly elevate his standard of living, Long continued to work, hammering, shaping, using bamboo strips for tiles and bamboo tubes for walls, quickly erecting a small shed. Don't mistake it for a doghouse. It was to be a fully functional kitchen. With the unpredictable outdoor weather, a dedicated cooking space would make life significantly easier. Days turned into weeks, and finally, it was time for a reward. He took a solid block of wood, carved it, and attached a small piece of metal. Meticulously, he joined it to the body of what looked suspiciously like a spear gun, securing everything with screws. Was he really fashioning his own heavy-duty weapon? I couldn't say. I didn't dare ask. But the scene did hint at something along those lines. Then he crafted a makeshift diving mask and plunged into the water. After half an hour of searching, he zeroed in on a large fish, estimating its weight at around 10 to 15 pounds. That would take care of the food situation for a while. He smoked some of it for preservation and cooked the rest for an immediate feast. That's the way of the wild, always keeping your strength and resolve at their peak. That's the only way to thrive in the long run. Yesterday, Long had completed the first stage of his aircraft carrier and treated himself to a few delicacies. To keep improving his quality of life, today he was back at it. Taking advantage of bamboo's natural flexibility, he swiftly assembled a dining table. Of course, a matching bench was essential. It had to be said that his craftsmanship was improved. Although he lived on the water, no one could stop him from going ashore to gather materials. Wood, minerals, all it took was a little digging. Before long, he had secured his evening meal. Reality proved that outdoor living could be incredibly simple. And yet another day passed. He was bursting with energy. The aircraft carrier was proving heavy, and each trip to shore burned a lot of calories. To address this, he decided to quickly build a smaller escort vessel, allowing him to detach from the main base for independent operations. That's the beauty of life in the wild. If you have the skills, you can do anything. The unique propulsion system, an upgrade from traditional rowing, transformed his aquatic existence into something akin to a vacation. The small craft, fueled by limitless ingenuity, skipped across the water like a dragonfly. After testing it out, he applied a coat of natural paint to the base, hoping to provide some protection against corrosion. At the end of the day, a lifestyle like this made you want to pack your bags and stay for a while. With the addition of the smaller boat, transporting materials became much easier, saving both time and energy while building muscle. Sure enough, those bundles of bamboo were destined for an expansion of the aircraft carrier, connecting them to the main structure and adding the pontoons just like before. Simple, crude, and effective. In theory, the expansion could continue indefinitely. He laid the flooring neatly and secured it with bamboo strips to prevent warping. Again, rustic but functional. He quickly erected a wooden frame in the empty central area. It was hard to say what he was planning, but it looked impressive. As he enclosed the edges of the vessel with bamboo, a heavy rain began to fall. Fortunately, it was the middle of summer, so getting drenched wasn't a problem. He lowered some sort of device into the water. Was it some kind of massive fish trap? More like a mini pool. Whatever made him happy. Once he started, it was hard to stop. He crafted one thing after another. In under half an hour, he'd made himself a sturdy square basket with a sunshade. It looked both functional and stylish. And as everyone knows, the forest holds endless resources. Let's see what he decides to take next. He harvested tender, young bamboo shoots, known for their taste and nutritional value, and brought them back to base. He also found 2 small birds that had fallen from their nest under a large tree. Knowing they wouldn't survive long on their own, he took them with him. He also gathered some wild roots. Another perfect meal, all natural and safe. Of course, there was a more pressing matter to address. The number of companions on the aircraft carrier was too low and needed to be supplemented. His method was simple, a crudely made trap. Success depended entirely on experience. So let's wait and see. Incredibly, he actually caught something, and it was a male and female pair. From now on, he could be self-sufficient in eggs. The trip was a complete success. This lifestyle was way better than being a workaholic. Now, take a close look. Are those chickens wild or just decoys? A few days prior, Wang-On had captured a pair of chickens and rescued some baby birds. To integrate them into his little family, he, of course, needed to provide them with ample food and drink. The space along the side of the deck was perfect for building a fancy double coop. When it came to craftsmanship, Wang-On could always be trusted. His constructions were not only sturdy but also aesthetically pleasing. With a few broken bamboo strips and a damaged wooden plank, he quickly built a shade structure in a neutral style. The design was so modern and the exterior so luxurious that even his dog looked envious. He even added a small, practical door. In less than 2 hours, the chickens were protected from the sun and rain. It was undeniable that he was putting a lot of effort into ensuring he got those eggs. If you invited them to stay, then the diet had to be top-notch. This time, his target was an old palm tree that had fallen over. Splitting it would reveal the nutritious core. He also grabbed some bamboo shoots, a favorite of his. The only problem was that the journey to and from the shore was quite long. If he could find a cheap used car on the online marketplace, that would be ideal. Next, he prepared a nutritious meal for the chickens and baby birds, hoping they would soon integrate. He also utilized the hollow tree bark, fixing it around the fish tank as natural flower pots to add color to his life. Although the exterior looked a bit rough, his sense of aesthetics was actually quite good. Even in the wilderness, the pleasures of admiring flowers and raising fish were essential. A month drifted by, Wang-On continued to carve and build, improving his quality of life. Knowing how to take things one step at a time was the correct way to survive. Now, the fish tank and the coop were ready. It was time to put them to use. Compared to traditional fishing methods, he preferred a different approach. Taking advantage of the beautiful sunny weather and light winds, he decided to dedicate some time to building a sustainable tool for efficient farming. At first glance, it seemed to be a large-scale fish trap that was completely handmade. Just setting up the frame would allow for effective fishing. Now let's see how he connects it all together. Are you amazed by his incredible skills? Bait the fish inside and let time do the rest. The biggest advantage of this tool was that it freed up your hands to do other work. Success or failure was left to fate. Unexpectedly, as soon as he put it down, there was movement. In just one afternoon, he caught 2 big fish. One to raise and the other to eat right away. After all, eating bamboo shoots every day would make it hard to get enough nutrition. A simple charcoal grill to enjoy, preserving the original flavor. That was the secret that helped him stay stylish and acne-free. And so a few more days passed, the trees lush and green. To make it easier for them to climb, he thoughtfully built a shade structure. Whether he harvests organic eggs, we'll wait and see. Even if things don't turn out as he hoped, the frame could also be used to hang things out to dry. Overall, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. There were countless ways to live long-term in the forest, and the spirit of daring to create was always the right choice. Rain or shine, he still strives every day for a better tomorrow. With no one to rely on, everything depends on his own hands. Don't think those bamboo tubes were rotten and useless. In his eyes, they could still be used for another year or two, continuing to connect them to expand his territory. Everything develops as expected and full of vitality. Kong Hoa said that if he was given a woman, he could form an entire lineage. He has gradually felt the warmth of family in the wilderness. Today, he continues to fight for a brighter future, taking advantage of the flexibility of bamboo to expand the aircraft carrier. Thanks to this, even in the middle of the waves, you can easily achieve freedom of cultivation. That's right, today he planned to sow some rice because it's the most stable source of carbohydrates. It must be admitted that his survival thinking was extremely clear. Every step was solid, and he knew how to calculate before and after. His success was not accidental. In addition to his own labor and intelligence, the favorable natural environment was also very important. Because along the river, resources were so abundant and easy to exploit. Because the previous tube-shaped fishing device was too bulky, today he decided to change his thinking. An improved version of the fish was compact and small, which could operate day and night while freeing up your hands to do other things. In his spare time, he caught a few more mountain crabs. It was so great. At this point, he was no longer surviving, but enjoying life. Half an hour passed quickly, this time not only catching 5 or 6 crabs, but also catching an 8 kilograms fish. It was truly a great harvest. Heart excited, hands shaking, he immediately returned to camp. Carp to be raised again for the new year, crabs to be processed today. Crispy mountain crab, one bite after another, protein content 5 times that of beef. Feeling extremely happy after eating. Finished a few bites, he decided to take a walk to digest. Leading his dog, he immediately set off, taking a walk around the mountain next door. Going straight into the forest to explore, he saw a big crab by the stream. But just finished eating this dish and now he's bored again. The puppy can't ask for more because there's little meat and lots of bones. Eating too much is bad for digestion and teeth. Let's calculate later. He conveniently picked up a few blocks of wood and bamboo to bring back, and drove the Dong Fong Fa boat back full. This slow and comfortable pace of life was what he was always pursuing. Arriving at the camp, he immediately expanded further. Stable development could expand the vision. That's right, based on the old living area, he began to build the second living area. In the old way, laying the wood neatly and then working to make a roof, just tightening the corners and the floating floor quickly took shape. Continuing to build a Chinese-style shack. The small house gradually became clear. No kidding, his skills were enough to live long-term in the wilderness. After a few chisels, the expansion area was also completed. The vegetables planted earlier were also ready for harvest. Fresh and juicy, completely natural, eating in the right taste. After a short rest, he started the final stage, using wood to divide compartments and then using bamboo to make partition walls. After a busy afternoon, the shack was completely finished, with small curtains in an impressive style. Sitting inside sipping tea and enjoying the wind, the wildlife was no different. With a place to shelter from the sun and rain, the initial temporary kitchen became redundant. Removing it not only expanded the space, but also made it more convenient when cooking. Looking closely at each movement of building a square and beautiful kitchen, it seemed that everything had been carefully calculated. Later, cooking may also become a hobby. The fire was burning vigorously and he began to eat. Bamboo shoots cooked with snails only need to be stewed carefully to eat safely. Time passed quickly. Wang-on had lived in this water area for a few months. Like the saying goes, working like a buffalo all his life without rest. He took care of everything from eating to living on his own. Although he had achieved some success to improve his quality of life, he still carved and built every day. Today it was raining heavily, so it wasn't convenient. So he stayed at home to make new things, using bamboo tubes to make torches and containers, and linking them with bamboo stakes and branches. Just completed the fence. You can also plant flowers and grass. It's really killing two birds with one stone. He always valued greening. Just looking at it was full of life. Watching the increasingly complete results, pride filled him. The leftover scraps were not wasted. Maximizing the use was the realm of outdoor living. Peeling the bark and drilling holes accurately in a few strokes became a neat and beautiful shelf, adding a small door to increase the style. With it, the kitchen was no longer cluttered, sunny and breezy. He leisurely went fishing again. Not only to let the fish bite the bait, but also to take care of dinner. Thinking about grilled fish was short of eating, so today I tried a new way. Fresh fish wrapped in young bamboo shoots. The combination of mountains and rivers creates a simple elegance. The dog jumped up happily when he saw the delicious food. Looking at the natural fishing spot in front of him, his mind quickly worked. If you have free time, make it big. That's right, if you want to completely solve the fishing problem, building a net is the right way. Carving a few needles and starting to weave. Anyone who has ever knitted a net knows that patience is important. Each stitch is accurate, then the net is durable. He spent half a day weaving the first net in his wildlife. By the way, I also patched a few holes on the deck. The living area has been expanded again. Another day passed, he finally started reel fishing. But instead of the traditional netting style, he prefers a different trick. For empty frames are attached with a swivel, then the old tube frame is taken. Just pull the net to spread it out so you can drop and collect it in one go. It's quick, easy, and efficient, saving effort and time. So now the question is, how do you get the fish underwater to get into the net by themselves? Good question. Everyone knows that fish are easily attracted to light. So just hang a few small lights and they will flock together. The main thing is to use intelligence to overwhelm. If you want to be free to eat fish in the wild, it's that simple. Small fish that are just scooped up are fried until soft. Eating them melts in your mouth. Add a little spicy chili that you grow yourself. The crispy taste is nothing to say. Are you fascinated by someone who is both handsome and knows how to enjoy life like him? Yesterday, he also made a sour and spicy fried fish meal that everyone will never forget. Today, manual work is much more flexible. Thanks to his superior knitting skills, he treated himself to a small basket and started gathering goods again. Wandering around the riverbank forever, today he decided to go deeper into the mainland. Unexpectedly, going there opened the door to a new world. In the deep forest, bamboo shoots are bigger and fresher, and he also discovered a beautiful ruin on the mountain. He was peeking around when he heard a sound. It turned out that there were two young animals in the cave crying hungry. Leaving them alone would definitely die, so he immediately took action to save them. They were so cute that he named them Dai Dan and Ni Dan, and gave them a hearty breakfast, considering them officially one of the family. The camp now has new members. Although these cats and dogs bring spiritual value, it also means a few more mouths to feed, so he had to collect food more often, conveniently picking some wild fruits, catching some mountain crabs, giving out countless food, both delicious and nutritious. It was truly a big harvest. Taking advantage of the early, he rolled up his sleeves and started doing handicrafts. Cutting bamboo and cutting wood one after another quickly became a large pot for planting more trees. Because the area needs to be greener, there will definitely be a multi-course meal tonight. It was so happy to have a diverse meal in the middle of the wilderness. Although the appearance wasn't very beautiful, the taste was great. The atmosphere in the camp was harmonious, warm, and truly meant happiness. A new day begins. Rice is gradually germinating. Looking at the results of half a year of labor, he was filled with pride. In the free early morning, he made more new dishes. The bamboo tubes in his hand quickly turned into a tea tray, and he continued to cut a section of bamboo to make a teapot. Although the appearance was somewhat rough, it still met the standards, and by the way, he picked a few small melons. Today, he decided to treat himself with fish from the pond. Thanks to stable development, he didn't worry about lack of food, changing the way to prepare to make himself happy. Thanks to this, living alone in the forest didn't feel lonely. Having this quality of life was entirely thanks to half a year of perseverance. Time has passed for a long time. The Dongfang Fa boat was about to retire. Taking advantage of the time it can still be used, he decided to collect some good wood. He decided to build it again. Eager to have a sturdier vessel at his disposal, he spotted a fallen log, a robust yet pliable specimen ripe with potential. It was perfect. He selected it as the prime material for his new boat's hull. After lopping off the ends to retain the straightest section, the long, arduous process of shaping and carving commenced. Patience, he knew, was paramount in building a durable craft. Thorough preparation would prevent future headaches. He also gathered specific, resilient branches, intending to use them as a natural adhesive to reinforce the boat's structure. This was no small undertaking, a labor of love demanding immense effort. Lacking blueprints, he had to meticulously calculate each step in his mind, visualizing the outcome. Still, his boat-building skills appeared remarkably professional. Joining pieces and carving away, he fashioned the boat's bottom. Then, mirroring the load-bearing frame of a house, he added bulkheads to form the hull, ensuring structural integrity and longevity. Though his methods were somewhat rudimentary, the results were immediately apparent. Traditional techniques were invaluable. Planks were fitted snugly together, gradually revealing the boat's form. He even planed surfaces smooth to reduce drag, boosting speed and saving effort when rowing. Adding a canopy, the boat neared completion. Entirely handcrafted, it was certain to last 3 to 5 years with proper maintenance. His craftsmanship was undeniable. Everything was ready. He was eager to launch his creation for a test run. Theory, as everyone knows, must be tested in practice. And indeed, the new boat performed flawlessly. Its streamlined shape minimized drag, and it carried a heavy load with ease. It far surpassed the old east windbreaker. He had poured all his energy into successfully building the sturdy wooden boat. Now, his life on the water was greatly enhanced. It was perfect timing. The rice shoots he'd planted months before were ready for harvest. The landscape pulsed with tranquil vitality. Overwhelmed with contentment, he reaped bundle after bundle of rice, laying them out to dry. The thought of soon eating fluffy white rice filled him with excitement. He quickly fashioned a simple tool for threshing. Who would have thought that amidst the water, he would be enjoying the joy of harvesting rice? In his free time, he gathered snails. Their firm, chewy meat, combined with organic vegetables, was an absolute treat. He transformed an ordinary meal into an imaginative feast, appealing to the eye and satisfying to the stomach. After eating, he was bursting with energy. He showed off his craftsmanship, leaving Big Dan and Little Dan in awe. Weaving the reeds together in a crisscross pattern until a flat surface appeared. Securing each corner, a giant sunshade took shape. Yes, he planned to use it, so he could enjoy a delicious meal of newly harvested rice. Of course, he needed a set of tools. With this specially made sunshade rake, the rice, which he toiled to plant, could bask evenly in the sun. From planting the seeds to harvesting, it had been no easy task. Before he knew it, it was time to gather resources. He dug up a fragrant, chewy yam and gathered a cluster of oil-rich nuts from the jungle. As he worked, he stumbled upon a strange find, unsure if it was a genuine artifact or just an oddity, but he brought it back regardless. Another bountiful harvest filled him with joy. His camp now resembled a small zoo, with all sorts of birds and wild creatures that he cared for. He'd created a little family. He'd keep them in a chicken coop until they got used to it, then he would set them free. Naturally, The rice crop remained his top priority. Eager to eat white rice as soon as possible, he started building a manual rice grinder, using ancient wood-shaping techniques to make the container. He then skillfully assembled a manual grinding machine. Combining them, he created a rice milling device. Whether he would taste fluffy rice depended on this contraption. Its most significant benefit was that it allowed him to share food with his livestock, allocating resources effectively. It had been over half a year since he began living in this watery region. Now, well-fed and clothed, he was relaxed and content, enjoying carpentry as a pastime. Life was exceptionally pleasant. Despite having no internet or electricity, his heart remained vibrant. He even fashioned himself a manual-powered pillow. Today, he would cook a pot of new rice. He'd been working towards this moment for half a year, proving that with diligence, one could eat well and sleep soundly even in the wilderness. The separated rice bran was fed to the fish, ensuring that nothing went to waste, and the sight of the glistening, perfectly formed grains filled him with satisfaction. Instead of eating immediately, he thought about sharing some with the chickens and smaller animals, reserving the best portion for himself. The simple bowl of white rice held immense meaning for him, representing all his sweat and toil, accompanied by some foraged greens and freshly caught fish. It was a feast fit for a king. He pan-fried the spotted snapper until golden brown and crispy. His quality of life was so luxurious it would make his neighbors envious. The next morning, the air was crisp. The animals he cared for were lively and energetic. The landscape was serene and full of life. If only he had a partner to share this life, it would be complete. As usual, around 10 each morning, he took his dog into the forest to find firewood, but he stumbled upon a new discovery. Upon closer inspection, he noticed something hidden in the hollow of a tree. It was a beehive, pure, untainted wild honey. One taste would send you into a euphoric daze. But he didn't eat it immediately. He was thinking long-term. Rather than one satisfying meal, it would be better if he had a consistent supply. So he decided to make an artificial hive to farm honey. He pieced together some broken boards into a sturdy hive. He fashioned some frames, carefully extracted the honeycomb from the tree hollow, and transferred it to its new home. The method wasn't fancy, but it was a traditional technique. He tidied himself up, deciding to present his best, most handsome self for this exciting meal. Another day passed. To diversify his crops, he expanded his planting area, gathering some pre-made materials and quickly started working on expanding the boat canopy, joining pieces of wood together. After some more carving, he ended up with 7 perfect cubes. It was not clear what he planned to plant, so he asked people to guess. To date, he had lived in this watery region for almost a year. To conclude this chapter of his life, he decided to treat himself to a lavish meal. Although his rustic life wasn't over, these recordings were coming to an end. It was unclear why he stopped posting, but people need not worry, as his survival skills were exceptional. He'd gone from having nothing to building a whole boat. Every effort had yielded a reward, proving that you reap what you sow, even in the wilderness. Music